Stay-at-home orders, school closures, work furloughs, and layoffs became the reality in the U.S. in March 2020.
And it's essential that you should take this more seriously.
Home became a way to protect the public and prevent widespread infection, yet for millions of victims of domestic violence, home was a trap, isolating them and their abusers together with nowhere to turn.
I'm out of work, can't have my phone without his permission. Somehow, I'm just not taking care of the kids enough. There's just never a right move I can make. I'll take the beatings to shield the kids. Tonight, he smacked me so hard, I hit the floor, and then he dumped his drink in my face. Today was a mild day.
As days dragged with no end in sight, tirades and beatings increased. No one knew.
911, what's your emergency?
In some regions, the number of domestic violence hotline calls dropped more than 50%. Yet calls to 911 were on the rise, and so was the severity of assaults and injuries. A silent crisis of domestic violence within a larger crisis of a global pandemic. COVID gave abusers more tools, more chances to control victims, and more everyday stressors to trigger it. At the same time, additional barriers for victims to access essential life-saving services like counseling, justice resources, legal advice, medical assistance, and the provision of refuge.
The abuse has always happened, but having the excuse of there's nowhere to go, there's nothing to do, made everything worse.
Getting behind the wheel with a concussion, multiple skull hematomas, bruises, and abrasions across her body was an undeniably bad idea. But the only way her husband would have let her and her children out of the house was to say she was getting him lunch. Instead, she went seeking help.
We sped to the nearest gas station to call 911. The responding officers were so kind and patient, which helped calm me down because I was worried that he had followed us. When we finally made it to Hope House, my fear of him had not gone away, but I knew we were where we needed to be.
COVID-19 shifted every single aspect of life as we knew it. The one thing that didn't change, the threat of domestic violence on families living in Kansas City and nationwide. In 2019, Hope House provided safe shelter for 728 adults and 509 dependents. But in 2020, they served 225 adults and 165 dependents. This significant drop in points measures a direct impact on families who were unable to reach out for help. The Family Court program told a different story. In 2019, Hope House served 85 clients, whereas in 2020, they served 188. Hope House worked with families that had co-occurrence of domestic violence and child abuse. During the lockdown orders, many agencies either shut down or minimized their services. This is where Hope House stepped in and expanded its support to victims while working with the Children's Division regarding abuse cases. Due to the pandemic, Hope House implemented a number of changes, such as reducing shelter beds, extending bed space to an off-site hotel placement program, remote services, and implementing a case management program to better meet the complex needs of survivors. The agency, as well as staff, have been creative in their solutions and continue to be persistent in ensuring survivors are safe and thriving. Hope House's mission is to provide survivors and their children with safe refuge and freedom. We rely heavily on funding to provide financial assistance, removing common barriers towards achieving self-sufficiency, and securing and maintaining safe and affordable permanent housing. We need your help to give these families the necessities they deserve.
Hope House believed in me when no one else did and invested in my family without hesitation. Our lives were saved, and now the healing begins. Will you be a part of creating a safe and prosperous future for my family and other families like mine?